Hello everyone, and welcome to Ultiori. It's time for another strange adventure, and a lot of you have been asking me to do an adventure on this specific title, and I'm here to tell you, you asked, and now I'm answering. I don't know what to do about the crackling noise in the background because my puppy is playing with her toy, and that's like the only way to keep her busy while I'm trying to record. Anyway, let's go. Warner Brothers. Oh my. Okay, no wonder the production was kind of, you know, Godzilla 1998.
Do you know fear? Do you know what it's like to feel your heart beating in your chest so intensely that you can't even breathe?
Yes. Yes, I do. I experience it every time right before I'm about to watch one of these movies. You know, when I first saw the younger girl that looked like an older girl in this movie, I was thinking to myself, man, that chick really looks like Scarlett Johansson. I never read the credits opening up to the movie, so it was a nice surprise. I was like, huh, I love Scarlett Johansson. I can recognize her anywhere, and that little thing looks like her, just a much younger version. Lo and behold, it is. Actually, a lot of interesting actors are in this movie. You're probably wondering to yourself, why did this movie get made? But it honestly wasn't as bad as I expected it to be.
That's right here at KFRD. Freedom Radio, the only source for the inside dope on government conspiracies, space aliens, and up-to-the-minute reports on when they plan to invade.
Yes, there are really people like that, and you know what? That's their shtick. That makes them happy, whatever. Funny enough, just like the Beaver movie that we just watched, a guy is nice enough to swerve out of the way of a poor little bunny in the road. As a result, one of these poisonous drums falls into the water. Interesting, because, you know, this has been done millions of times before. We open up on this guy. He picks up a cricket, and I don't know what's so fascinating about it. All he ends up saying when he looks at it is, "Let me go! Let me go!" Never. Okay, maybe the guy didn't say anything, but maybe it was his emotions or his facial expressions, because all he was saying was like licking his lips, like, can't wait to taste you, heart. Can't wait to lick your ass. No, I don't mean like, you know, okay. The spider's ass. What in the, oh my God. No! You know what? Let's continue. 1 week later, we meet one of the main characters. He's heading off into Taft's exotic spider farm. There's a chock full of spiders in here, enough to make you feel the heebie-jeebies. What's really cool about this is you get a full-on spider lesson while you're here. It's like watching an episode from Out of the Magic School Bus.
Joshua? Joshua! Are you trying to scare me to death?
Oh my God. You know, nowadays, I mean, it's cute, and I like the friendship these two have, but nowadays, this looks like a totally different thing I imagine to parents. But Josh was just being really playful.
Hello, Mike.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yes! Look at that shoulder move! Yes! Mini skirt with my
The kid's friend Joshua is the one who owns the store. Joshua tells him that he's been noticing that a lot of the spiders have been growing. See, he's been feeding them the crickets that he found from that lake. And apparently that's making them even more strong, powerful, aggressive. Like their food makes them feel like they're on steroids.
Hey, there they go. Look.
Whoa, he was hungry.
Yeah, as they grow, their appetites do too.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't see what was wrong with the size of that spider. I mean, is it a trapdoor spider? I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I understand every species of spider there is. But I do know the ones that pull things into their home are trapdoor spiders. They're a category of spiders that just pull their prey underground. There's some species of tarantulas that also do this, and they all look that big, so I don't really see what the surprise is about. But anyways, they're so busy with what they're doing, somebody didn't realize they left the door open in one of the spider things.
It's all from eating those crickets?
I'm gonna make a fortune.
Yeah, do find the spider that's now going to be loose in your home first. They start listing off all the types of spiders there are, like the jumping spiders, look very fake. What in the ass hat is going on the right side of the screen? Okay. Is my brother laughing over there? I swear to God, it only gets better from here. You see? The look on his face is perfect because this is how everyone would feel, and that's the music that would be playing in the back of your head and on the prickly surface of your neck if you found out that a spider was loose in your house. Did you guys ever have a situation where you find something that could potentially bite your neck and swell it up and cause you to suffocate in your house, and you're like, hold on, let me go get the Raid, and you're looking at the spider on the wall and the Raid might be right there, right next to you, but if you take your freaking eyes off of it and then you go back to look at the wall, it's just vanished? You know how many times I've gotten Raid because I just pretend I'm a dragon and I'm poisoning it and eating it? See, if I had a lizard, that would help. Not jumping spiders though, because they're too cute. But you know, I leave the room because I'm like, shit, Raid's not in here. Come back, spiders disappeared. It's freaking horrifying. Now I have to wonder what the hell is going on and where the hell is this thing? Is it in my shoes, my clothes? Now I have to shake out everything just in case, just before I put it on. It's maddening and nerve-wracking to hell. Most of the time it turns up later. If it happens to turn up way later, it's usually much bigger than it was when you saw it. I can understand why this guy is a little bit nervous and he's like, oh boy, what now? And then we find out it's on his freaking back. Of course it is. Why is it with all of these freaking monster movies? Person doesn't see the spider. Turns around, the spider's on his back. Like, of all places, why would the spider go there? Now, of course, I know this movie plays up spiders to the umpteenth level of being these bloodthirsty monsters, and they kind of are, but they're kind of not. And I love how they covertly try to explain away why the spiders are behaving like this because of that poison drum that fell in the water, and then they have been feeding on this that causes them to act like that. My question is, if we can hear the spiders squeaking, can't the guy? And then if he heard them squeaking, doesn't he find that a little bit odd? Anyway, just as the little kid is driving away, or not driving away, but riding away on his Pokemon bike, Josh gets bitten by the spider on his back. Of course. So my guy manages to knock over every freaking structure in that building, getting a bite. Suicide by spider. Interesting, because that's what it kind of seemed like to me. Really? You knocked over every single shelf?
Hiya!
Gotta make sure we set all the spiders free. You ever notice how in these movies, whenever some kind of creature gets affected by some measure of poison in the water supply or some alien stone thing that falls from the heavens, they always grow much larger and are super aggressive? Newsflash, the spiders in the scene are still pretty small. With that guy clashing everywhere, those spiders don't want to get injured. Spiders may seem very scary, but at the center of it, these spiders want to survive and not have their legs or abdomens crushed over anything else. This tall ass, probably 200-pound man flailing around would not encourage them to come after him and bite. They would be scurrying fast out of the area. And spiders certainly do not swarm, at least not in an organized fashion. We are introduced to our other main character who comes back to the town. Apparently his father died very recently and he's here to take over the mines that his father left behind.
Sorry, son. We aren't hiring.
You sure? I'm a pretty good engineer.
Comes in to see if he can get a job, but he's really trolling the lady who turns out to be his Aunt Gladys. So interesting to see how her face softened when she recognized that it was her nephew. So I'm guessing that's the father's sister, and she probably took over for managing as well. Seeing her little Boston Terrier makes me think that something's going to happen to that dog later on. At this point, I'm just prepared for it. I have to mentally and emotionally prepare myself for stuff like this. The kid is on his way back to hang out with his friend Josh, but he stops when he sees a policeman investigating a lake. His mom happens to be the sheriff. Looks like his adventure is going to stop short here because the mother had told him that she did not want him going back to the spider farm. At first this seems very unreasonable, but the kid does have night terrors and keeps her up at night because of it, so I totally get it.
To that spider farm, didn't I? All right, you're grounded, mister.
But Mom, I've got to tell Joshua about this contamination.
I don't want you hanging out with that weirdo.
Well, that wasn't very nice. For all you know, you could be calling your kid that. He likes spiders too. You can tell she was probably one of the mean girls in high school. On the way home, we meet Brett. And of course, we're introduced to Scarlett Johansson as well. And her very young mother, who the guys don't even wait to get out of earshot before they start remarking compliments. I can't even blame them because she is a very hot sheriff.
Brett, isn't your stepfather the mayor?
That's exactly how I sound when I have the sniffles. And I can't blow my nose because it swells shut. So my brain inflates instead, making me smarter. Oh.
What do you think, G-string or underwear?
Not gonna lie though, the guy in the jeans jacket looks like he belongs in a freaking Calvin Klein commercial. Anyway, later on, the kid tries to phone Josh. He still doesn't know that poor Josh is no longer in the land of the living. And remember how they said the spiders were growing exponentially? You can imagine that this is going to be a land of kaiju spiders anytime soon. Later, we get a scene at the Prosperity Mall. Something tells me that this mall is going to come in handy as a safe location later, because, you know, every monster movie seems to claim that a mall is the best fortitude there is around. The mayor of this very small town tells everyone that their financial troubles can be solved if they sell their properties. Apparently, some outsiders want to buy up the land, unless of course the mines can get working again. The mines that Chris, the main character's father, left behind. He had claimed that he had found a gold vein in those mines, but nobody believed him. Certainly not this mayor.
Tylenol wants all of our properties or none of our properties. Let's face it.
Makes a lot of sense. My thing would be how much. It has to be worth my while to move out of where I am. Understandably, the town people are not having it. After all, a lot of these guys are very old and they don't want to relocate.
This is a government cover-up, isn't it?
Harlan, what in the hell are you talking about?
Why are they willing to pony up so much money? Just to get to the mines?
What the hell is Mrs. Incredible doing at this meeting? Anyway, Chris is not too happy about this mayor calling his father a kook and not believing that there was actually gold in the mine that the guy found a gold vein. Apparently, the dad was kind of delusional in his old age, so you can't really blame the guy for not believing him. And honestly, yeah, even if this mayor is a douchebag, he's not really wrong. He seems to be wanting to help the townspeople, even admits that he has his own self-interest in there as well. Because here's what I learned. Regardless of whether or not you choose to move, you're going to end up moving, whether you like it or not. And then by the time you have your last bastion and it's the last resort and you decide that, you know what, everything's being built up around me, I guess I'll move, you probably won't get as much money as you initially would have gotten if you have just moved when they told you to move. It really sucks. It's business and it's nasty and dirty, but it's the way the world works. That's why I would be like, how much? If I bought my house for $70,000 and these people are like, I'll give you $200,000 for your land to move. Guess who's moving? Anyway, Chris didn't take too kindly to this mayor spitting his facts, and the sheriff lady intervened. Of course, the sheriff lady is so freaking hot, and she just happens to love the main character. It's always a trope with these movies. That has to be the sweetest pussycat I've ever seen. His name is Zeke, and he wants attention. Or maybe the drilling noise is just hurting his freaking ears. Zeke hears and sees something go into the hole. And I swear, the sound effects on these creatures are so freaking hilarious. The cat is so silly, but so cute. The wife is like to her husband, please give it a rest, but they have to get the cat out of the wall. So they try to coax him with food. And by now, I think we're getting ready to see some real action because there's already spiders in their cupboards and whatnot. And having these little Tim Burton hand monsters be the size of your head is very disconcerting. The good news is you can see them now. They can't get lost in your clothes or shoes. The bad news is they're too freaking big. What ensues has to be the most out of place and most stupid scene in the entire movie. I get that they're playing upon this because they know how ridiculous this movie is, but this is so over the top. I'm like, okay? I'm rather confused as to what I'm watching. What is the wall made of? Play-Doh? What is with the sound effects? Oh my god. Why did they put this as a horror sci-fi? Do they not know what horror is? This is so obviously a horror comedy, with the exception of it not being funny at all. Maybe like a 2-year-old would find this hilarious. And I will admit, because this little cringeworthy segment right here is so out of left field, I don't really feel bad for the cat because it's just slattered in so much ridiculousness that it's hard to feel absolutely anything. All that happens in between here and when the kid gets into his car are lovey-dovey scenes of the main character, Chris, trying to get back into good graces with our sheriff lady. Helps when you're somebody who's a hothead to date the sheriff, doesn't it? The kid finally made it over to his friend Joshua, only to find him missing and his entire facility covered in webs and the spiders much bigger than they were when he last saw them. At least he's smart and he carries a piece of a molten leg as proof, but nobody believes him. As he said, he's the kid.
But you're not gonna believe me because I'm the kid and they never believe the kid.
The spiders start to make their presence known. In like old 1980s fashion with these gremlin-style horror movies, as they call it, there's a scene-by-scene play of people individually encountering the spiders, or the spiders encountering them. Freaking hell, why do they sound like that? They're spider's sound effects are killing me. God, I feel like I'm watching some kind of Saturday morning kids show. Like, nobody sounds like they don't even make those noises. But as I've said before, they do it on purpose so that you forget that this movie is stupid. In your mind, you're probably reasoning, well, it's a stupid movie. They're doing it it's supposed to be outrageous. And that's honestly the best move for movies like this, because if you try to make it too serious and then you look at the graphics and the storyline and everything just is so freaking uncomfortable to watch. Oh, and apparently fire doesn't deter these things. Something that is supposed to be naturally fatal to spiders. I mean, these dudes are freaking roasting, literally out in an open flame, and they're still totally okay. Their eyes are singed, but they can see totally fine. By the way, I'm guessing the guy in the truck made it because the backside is blown up, but you know, the front side's okay, unless they ate him. I might have missed that with all the cringe going on. I don't know, Brett. I'm trying to figure that out myself. Also, somehow Brett's dirt bike seems to outgun all of his friends. I mean, before we had an excuse, because you could just say whoever fell behind the pack became the latest victim. But these spiders have been following him for a while, and they always just narrowly miss him, almost like his farts are made of plot armor. Just when they get a mighty whiff of it, they have this unbearably, uncontrollable, primal urge to just let him go free, just a little tad, but not make him think that he got free because of their mercy. Did one of these sons of bitches just do a freaking tiger roar? Holy shit, man. You couldn't have come up with some other sound? It's like during this entire ordeal, someone just had a random soundboard. Roars. Just in that category, and that channel, just roars, and just match all of them, button match all of them together as this is going on. Doesn't matter what they sound like. He escapes into the mines, and the entrance is closed off. Little does he know, the female Orbeaver spider has made her home in there. Later, remember that very old Boston Terrier that we saw? The poor thing? Well, he goes to investigate in the basement. The main character's aunt had no idea there was a huge hole in the wall down there, and of course he gets eaten. But thank goodness they don't really show it on screen. You just see the collar having been left behind, and just like I would do, the old lady goes in there after her dog. If I saw there was a big hole in my wall though, and my dog went missing, and that hole's not supposed to be there, and there's webs all around it, and there's weird growling noises, you bet your shit I'm getting my knife or my gun. I am not going into any one of those situations without my fucking Mossberg. Chris comes back to his aunt's house to find out that she and the dog went missing. He sees the evidence of some really huge bug leg, and now he believes the kid. So right away, he heads back to the sheriff's house. I was wondering why didn't he just go to the cops, but I figured he wanted a second opinion on someone who was more expert. By the way, the kid is the sheriff's son, and the sheriff's right there anyway, so kill two birds with one stone. By the way, for some reason, this scene right here is like from out of a postcard. It's absolutely beautiful. The antique pickup truck and the background and the sun setting, it's, wow, beautiful, man. I would love to have that up on my wall.
Mike, look what I found in my basement.
Whoa, that thing is huge!
Watch your profanity.
The mother keeps asking the both of them what the hell's going on. I don't blame them for shutting her out and not even giving her the time of day, because the kid did try to explain to his mom earlier on in the movie that this was happening, and she was like, you need to stop watching so much TV. Like, I don't know what the situation was before. I know he was having like paranoid nightmares and stuff, but if your kid is not the kind of person to tell like these tall tales, especially this kid looks a lot more mature, or acts a lot more mature for his age. If he's being like, you know, keeping it 100 with you, and he's like, Mom, I'm telling the truth, and he's never lied about stuff like this before, you should kind of be inclined to at least figure out what's going on. As the sheriff, I found it really surprising that when he said that Josh was dead and all of that, she didn't even think to investigate, not even a little bit. You would think that if you're a police officer or somebody who's a law, that your children would be like top priority since you live with them, that if they say that something like that is happening, regardless of the stupid reason, if they say somebody is dead or missing, that you would at least follow up on it just to make sure.
Yeah, lots of it.
She might have been attacked by a male Orbeaver.
Male, female, what's the difference?
Males compete for the female's attention by bringing her the best present. The prey is cocooned alive so that she can feed on it later in her
I feel like this kid was just waiting for an opportunity to say that. The computers also look like cardboard boxes back then, so if people are wondering why he didn't just go on Google and look up all of this, that's why. I don't think, was Google a thing back then? Hold on. It was founded in September 4th, 1998, but it was ass back then. We all know that. While they're all talking in the next room, this spider comes through the girl's room and tries to violate her blossom. They take care of the male orb weaver, and that's when they know they have a huge problem. The sheriff calls her partner from the station to bring all the guns that they have there.
Mossberg pump.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. More clips stitched together of people encountering these spiders pops up. But I'm wondering, the guy on the couch, right? Unless the spiders can transform into liquid forms of themselves, that guy's been sitting in the couch all this time. How did it get past him? And why was it sitting behind him for all that time just to suddenly decide that it's going to peek over his head now when his friend's in the room? Also, why does this old man have the most ridiculous expressions I've ever seen? Like we're watching some other rendition of Home Alone. Why are the two male orb weaver spiders helping each other? Aren't they competing to booty the female up in her snooty? They're each bringing presents to see which one's the best. What are these two hoping that they're gonna both slide in at the same time? The sheriff's deputy shows up faithfully, and honestly, he's my favorite character in this entire movie. Also, I was wondering this though, those little jumping spiders that are on their roof, why are they waiting until this family, just slapped in plot armor, is out of their reach? Everyone else, they barely get to have a breath before those spiders jump on them and tear them to shreds. But oh no, this person and their family, they're totally fine. And then even when the others go to the car and the mother's there shooting the one jumping spider off of the cop car, the spiders above her just like, let's just give her a running head start.
Holy moly.
That was a mighty long time that they waited. I mean, you could say that they didn't see her, but it is confirmed later on in the movie that these things hunt from sound and vibrations. So they already knew that these people were in this house, hence why they were on the roof in the first place.
Come on! Look out!
Well, looky here. They waited until the other guy just conveniently saw her in time so they could pop one off just before it jumps on her, when they had all that time to do that. Jesus Christ, this movie. They go to Dougie Doug's trailer, the guy who is the conspiracy broadcaster, and they're like, look, we need to broadcast to everyone right now that they're about to get eaten by kaiju spiders. Well, technically they're not kaiju because they're not super large, but they are monstrous. And they'll just keep growing until they probably implode on themselves, which we know if this movie kept going, that would not happen. Of course, the tarantula notices them going in the trailer, or maybe it doesn't. What keeps these people safe is the plot armor, but it's like a magnet to attract the spiders into attacking them. It's the weirdest thing ever. They broadcast and tell everyone to get to the Prosperity Mall. Of course, the town people don't initially believe them. After all, they're always listening to the kooky guy's show. They just love conspiracy theories. And so when they hear gunshots in the background, people screaming, they're like, okay, this is new. They're amping up the sound effects a bit. This is very entertaining. And maybe the sheriff woman is in on it when she said that there were gigantic spiders killing everyone. Hold the antique phone. What is that glass made of? Because these jumping spiders are the same jumping spiders that got rammed by trucks, came through fire, jumped down with all their weight into concrete, but yet jumping only what would be for them only a few yards into a glass, very thin glass window in comparison to the concrete that they've been slamming themselves into the entire movie. That kills them. That smushes them to all hell. Okay. Okay, so was the other spider just not fully formed? Did he just come out of his molt? What the hell was that? Why would everyone still be standing there seeing that the spiders are trying to freaking come through the glass? You see, I would find me a dryer or a washer or take out the tray from the dishwasher or a cupboard and squeeze myself in there. I'm a master at hide and seek because I hide in the weirdest places that people don't expect me to be. I remember one of the times we were in a church, I think it was a church that we were in, and I told those kids they'd never find me. They were like, no, we'll find you because everyone hides behind bushes, behind curtains. I'm like, no. I am a God tier level hide and seeker. I will find the place that you can't even reach to hide in. And of course, I found it. I pushed the bookshelf over. Thank goodness there was nothing in it. I climbed up it and I went into those little things in the roof. You know those little segments that you can push up and then you can climb in and then you put them back in place in the roof? They're like squares. They felt sort of like drywall or something. Now this was very risky because I could have ruined the roof, but I just distributed my weight on the crosshairs of the metal sections and I was sitting there the entire time. And everyone's like, come out, it's done now. I will wait for hours. I will sit for 7 hours. I have sat for 7.5 hours hours until it was dark and the adults had to come and find me because they all legit thought I was missing. And when that happens, when they're all given up and they're all like, okay, well, I guess she won. She went off somewhere, whatever, before the adults come to get me, or if the adults come to get me, I will not let them see where I hid. To this day, nobody has ever found me in a game of hide and seek, ever. And that is a badge of honor that I wear very proudly. Now, I don't know how that would work out for spiders, since apparently they're like bloodhounds in this movie and they supposedly can sniff you out too. I'm only hoping that they don't have object permanence, but I wouldn't even let them see me go into places. I would hide somewhere, make sure that I stuff myself in that thing. Getting jackets and going into freezers as well might be a great way to beat the spiders, since extreme cold would slow them down. Oh, but no, they can be roasting on an open freaking bonfire and still walk and be alive, so I don't even know if that's good enough. Mr. Antique Jesus over here should have been one of the first ones out of this building. You see, that's something I fear. One of our cars, the one that we use for the errands, is like that, where it's just a total economy car, best car I've ever had, well, in terms of like a little beater car. And yeah, one of the ways you save money is that it doesn't have the ability to open the locks. So sometimes I'm using the tip of my finger to feel if there's no light, and I'm like, you know, someone can come up here and shiv me, and I wouldn't even have a chance to get into my car. My sports car, though, you can open that in a dime. Maybe it's a good idea not to block all the other cars in with the one that can't open as quickly as the others, just in case we happen to get attacked by titanic arachnids. When the survivors get to the mall, they try to hold down the fort, which is almost impossible. These spiders keep coming, and they can't be held out for too long. The mayor guy has his own plans, and he decides to go into the mine from the mall, but he locks the way so the other people can't follow him. Meanwhile, main character Chris and the kooky guy try to call in the army, but they have to get to the roof of the mall in order to get a signal.
Sir, no, not dial-in.
This is not a crank
I'm
call.
hanging up on
Don't
you,
hang
sir.
up on me, lady. Please, please! It's an invasion! They're here! They're here! You're damn right!
Why would you even say that? I'm guessing they did this for comedic effect. I just never found things like this funny. Like, if it was like, dude, where's my car? And it started out as that, and you knew very obviously that it was a comedy, and it was listed as a comedy, I'd be like, okay, this is hilarious. This for me is not, because this is listed as a horror sci-fi. Why is the spider screaming? Remember Brett, the guy with the bike? Well, his stepfather is the mayor, and the mayor meets him down in the mines and gets taken away by one of the orb weavers. I really don't know how Brett is still alive. Maybe it's the smell of his urine when he pissed himself earlier that repels them. Around this time, I started to get very tired of this song and dance mouse and cat game. I think I enjoyed Big Ass Spider a lot better. Anyway, Brett saves the day, opens the door to the mines, everyone gets down there, but here is a catch-22, you guys. You cannot use your guns against the spiders because there is methane in these mines. So if you set it off, then there's going to be a mighty explosion in the air. They didn't just make this up as they went along, and I do respect that. They did foreshadow it way before all of this was a thing, and I knew when they mentioned it, it was going to be an inconvenience to them later. But also a way to, guess what it is, blow up the spider, because in every one of these stupid monster movies, they've got to blow up the thing. Every single one. Main character Chris happens to find Aunt Gladys there. Thank goodness she's still alive, and he rescues her by also putting a match in the ceiling of one of the lights so that when the light turns on, the matches will strike and blow up the place. I don't know how that works. Whatever. My whole thing is the people that they happen to rescue, like the mayor and the aunt, how do you know the spiders and like lay eggs inside of them? I know it sounds stupid because the orb weaver, they leave them there as gifts, but there are all spiders all over the place from the mall trickling in. How do you know that there aren't other spiders that are just like, you know what? This thing is lying here. This would be a nice meal for my babies. Let me just put my ass in this thing's mouth and lay a few of my eggs. I was actually expecting that to happen, but it wouldn't be as kid-friendly as they're making this movie out to be. The methane explosion blows up the mines and the mall as a result, and I don't really know why everyone's rejoicing, and this is great news because don't some of the spiders survive like we saw the other ones that are apparently immune to fire come out before? But let's just say that they did blow all of them up. The rest of the police force waits to the end of the freaking movie to come along, and they're all excited because they're like, oh, we listened to the Cookie Guy's show and we love his stuff. See, I knew it was aliens. I knew it. Only thing is, all the evidence that they ever had of the spiders were in the mall and in the mine. So they're like, look guys, there's eggs. Look guys, there's this. And they're running towards the fire with the firemen, not putting two and two together that because all of this is blown up now, you can't see any of that. But of course, you can't expect that every single spider was blown up in here because there were so many of them, much more than was in the freaking spider farm. Like, I don't know if they were breeding and they just grow really fast, but it seemed as though the population of spiders just kept exponentially multiplying just for the sake of it, like there was some weird spawner somewhere in the distance. So I really don't believe that all the spiders were in there and they got all of them. There are still some spiders definitely around, and then what are they gonna do about those? Everyone's rejoicing and not really thinking about that. Okay. We need a fire truck hose worth of some industrial free-flowing blasting raid. It needs to be the black one, the black skinny one for scorpions and spiders. That is the only one that will work. The red and the blue and the ones that worked years ago, those don't work for anything. You spray that on the flies and they're like, ooh, thanks for the perfume. Let me slather this around my crotch area. All right, I'm out. See ya. But the black raid, if you could get more of those, oh, that will do the trick. Just spray it in their faces. But I don't even know if that will work because they burn these things with fire and they were still alive. I'm glad at the end they didn't do a cringy kiss thing. They just hugged each other because that wouldn't be realistic. They haven't even really been dating. So I hate when they're like, oh, let's just kiss, you know, in front of the explosion and fire behind us for no freaking reason. It's just like so outplayed. It's not even nice anymore. You see that from like Armageddon. You're saying, oh, that's sweet. Nowadays, it just doesn't fit. I don't know why, but it just puts me off. Oh God, I'm so glad I'm finished that. Oh, good grief. You guys don't know this, but at the end, I am just ruining having to sit here for hours and edit this video because it means I have to watch it a third time. I want to be a fox and I want to fly through the forest and take a shit on the flowers. I don't want to be giving this $2.99 movie more time than I need to, but I hope you guys will enjoy the adventure. What was your favorite part about this? Do you like big ass spiders more than you like this? And I got a spoiler for Mandalorian. For those of you who've never watched Mandalorian, you probably don't want to hear this, but I've just finished watching season 1 at the time of this video, gonna start season 2, and I got a spoiler that there's some ice spiders in it, and they look freaking weird, and I can't wait to see that. That being said, keep your suggestions coming for Dumb Movie Monday stuff. I know this video wasn't exactly on a Monday, but, you know, it's still considered a Dumb Movie Monday, because you know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Altiori. You ask, we answer.